Hello, comic book fans from all across the entire planet. Hopefully we got people from all over the world watching these videos. But this is Comic Book Hangover. It is Friday, which means it's time for a full run Friday. This week I decided, sort of at last minute, I'm going to finish off my Fables run because next week, I think it's next week, is the first issue of the Batman vs. Bigby, a Wolf in Gotham miniseries, which runs for 6 issues, and that's going to be followed up next year by a new 12-issue run of Fables, one of my favorite comic book series of all time. And we're also starting with issue 151 for the new Fables run, so it's not going to start with another #1, which I would have hated. I love the idea that we're getting issue 151 through issue 162, because as I've said before, that means we're a little bit closer to that lovely issue 200 of Fables, which would be amazing if we could do that. But before I get into that, before I flip this camera around and we start going through, we've got EverAfter, we've got Ferris, we've got Cinderella, we've got some other stuff to look at to wrap up Fables. Sort of a big announcement. I wanted to call it, and you Invader Zim fans out there will know this, I wanted to call this Operation Impending Doom 2. And what I mean by that is we found out yesterday, my wife and I, that we are expecting our second child. So May of next year, there's going to be a new baby running around, which means I'm going to be working extra hard on these videos and on this channel to kind of get it, kind of build it up a little bit more and try to just make this channel bigger than what it is currently. So I'm going to be working extra hard on that because I want to be able to have something really cool to share with the new kid when he or she is big enough to realize what's going on. I'm also going to be turning over part of my channel, or I might set up a new sub channel. I'm gonna figure out how YouTube does it, because my little boy Torin, he wants to start doing videos of his own, and I'm gonna help him with the equipment and all that sort of stuff, because he's only 6 years old. He's gonna be 7 in February, which is amazing. But he wants to do his own videos, so I'm gonna let him construct his own stuff. He's going to be able to do it his own way, talk about what he wants to talk about, how he wants to talk about it, and hopefully he can start building up some sort of a fan base as well, so that when his little brother or little sister comes along, they can sort of tag team on these videos. So that's it. That's my big announcement. I'm going to be officially married with children, and I'm sure the second kid is going to be just as big of a blast as the first kid. I absolutely had nothing but fun with Torin, even through the bad times. It's been a blast. So that said, let me go ahead and pause this video so I can flip this camera around, and we're going to show off the rest of my Fables run in preparation for the upcoming release of Batman vs. Bigby, although it really should be Bigby versus Batman, because Bigby is a much cooler character than Batman. I'm joking. I love Bigby, but I know Batman's like Batman. But anyway, let's go ahead and flip this camera around and go through the rest of my Fables collection. Okay, here we are. So we're in front of my beloved collection drawer boxes. Man, I love these. I'm going to order some more of these, some short ones. And I think what I may end up doing is doing a video showing how these things are put together. Just because, I mean, I know they're a little bit more expensive than the regular boxes. And because of their design, they don't hold as many, but they're so much more convenient. I absolutely love them. So I'm going to order some more. So I may do an unboxing video or something like that, and a construction video for them. So anyway, let's get going here. Let's find, we got Fables. All right. So the first one is going to be up now. These are in a peculiar sort of order, so just bear with me here. So coming up first, we got Fables, The Wolf Among Us. Now this was based on the Telltale games, and it kind of expanded. I've never played the game. I think I have it on my Xbox 360, but I never played it. Excuse me. I did, of course, get the comic book. I had to. And there's the variant cover for the first issue. The cool thing about Fables is they didn't do a whole lot of variant covers. I appreciated that. So we've got this series here, which was a lot of fun. I love the covers. There's actually one cover coming up that introduces a new character to the Fables verse that just oh man, my favorite cover of this entire run coming up. So I mean, other than the tie-in with the game. Sorry about the focusing thing there. other than a time with the game, I mean, it was a typical Fables. It was sort of an expansion on the series. I mean, it would have been nice if they were able to just continue Fables proper with this series instead of making its own thing. But here's the cover. This is Bloody Mary. This was kind of her first appearance in the Fables verse, if you would. It was actually in this series here, and this is her first cover. And when I saw this cover being solicited, I fell in love with it instantly. It just, oh man. And then I think that issue was actually delayed a week or two, so I had to wait a little bit longer to get the stupid thing. But first world comic book collector problems. But great series. Great series. I mean, everything about Fables. I know just like with The Walking Dead, there's hills and valleys with the stories of Fables. But even like with The Walking Dead, the valleys were just like, oh man, why am I still reading this? With Fables, the valleys were like, okay, well, it's not the best, but why not? I'll still go along with it. So this is the final issue of Fables: The Wolf Among Us. Ran for 16 issues. The next one in my collection is the first of 2 Cinderella miniseries. Cinderella: Fables Are Forever. Written by Chris Robertson. Cinderella is an amazing character, and these are some awesome covers. These are some really hot covers. Cindy in the Fables verse is she's basically James Bond times a million. Because the Fables are immortal, she was able to, live, she's lived for centuries, and she was able to pick up any and every form of espionage, spy techniques, we'll say coercion tactics. She knows how to do anything and everything that needs to be done. She is sort of she's the wet works operator of Fabletown. They want something done, and if they need something done rather, and they don't want Fabletown proper to know about it, and it's going to get messy, and they need something taken care of, they send in Cinderella. Now this cover here, this is also telling you, down here you got this little girl on this yellow brick road, and the story was. And here's the second one, From Fabletown with Love. I love how they really tied her into the James Bond thing. But the thing with Cindy was, I mean, she was badass. And she was not afraid of anything or anyone except for one person. And that is Dorothy Gale from The Wizard of Oz. And it's because Dorothy Gale is the only person that came close to killing her. And in the first Cinderella miniseries, you kind of get introduced really to Dorothy Gale, and man, to say woman is crazy is an understatement. I mean, she was absolutely psychotic. I didn't like anytime she would show up. I'm like, her and Goldilocks. Goldilocks was the same way. I didn't like either one of them showing up in Fables because they were both, well, not to put too fine a point on it, but they were both batshit crazy. All right, so that wraps up Cinderella. So then we've got EverAfter from the pages of Fables. This series started off really good. This has Connor. This starts off with Connor Wolf, one of the cubs of Bigby and Snow White. And the story itself was good. The art was great. I mean, it was everything you'd expect from Fables. The problem I had with it personally was partway through, the writer, who was a guy, decided, for whatever reasons, his or his own, he was actually a she. I love that cover too. During the run, I mean, you see here Justice and Sturgis. During the run, he became a she. He changed her name, and then started to enforce his or her, whichever you want to say, views into the comic book. So Connor was a young man, a young wolf cub, and in here he is a young man. They aged him kind of quickly. And anytime he's around young women, he was always just, oh man, because he was a young man. He's like a teenager, right? He never once showed even the most remote interest in being with men. But then once the writer became a woman, suddenly suddenly Connor was wanting to turn into women so he could have sex with men, and it went against everything that we've known about Connor at the time, and it was solely because of the writer's personal politics. And as I've said many times, I don't care about your personal politics. Keep it out of my comic books. I don't want to know. I don't care. And at that point, Fables was already coming. That series, EverAfter, was coming to an end, and I had already decided when I saw these changes coming, and this massive shift in Connor's character, I myself was like, you know what? This might be the first Fables series, spin-off series that I drop, because this is wrong. This is this person putting their own personal politics, their own identity politics into this book, and making it more about him or herself and not about the character and the fans, and that I don't agree with. So it's nothing against her chosen lifestyle. It's nothing against that. I don't really give a rat's tail then if somebody wants to be a dude or be a chick. Just don't. You know what? I'm not going to get into it. This is not the time or the place to get into it. Let's talk more about Fables. The next one is Fairest. Now, Fairest had some amazing covers. Now, Fables was primarily a female-led series. Snow White, Cinderella, even Goldilocks, and Beauty. These are main characters in the books, which it's one of those things that when I hear people today say, "Well, there's not enough books that are that have strong female characters." Well, clearly you're not familiar with Fables, because Fables is filled with strong, amazing female characters. So this spin-off series, written by Bill Willingham with art by Phil Jimenez and Andy Lanning, covers by Adam Hughes. This series focused on the females. Whereas they were always part of the Fables series, this one here said, okay, you know what? Let's actually fully focus on the fairest of them all. And so we got a great run. I think it's 33-issue run. An amazing Phil Jimenez cover. His art in this book was just off the scale. Every page is poster worthy. I think I spent more time reading this book simply because I would get lost in the artwork. I love this cover. I would get lost in the artwork, and I would read a page, and I would go back and spend a half hour, 45 minutes just looking at every little detail. It was just amazing stuff. And this series was, oh, man, it was great. And they, so as I said, it's supposed to focus on the fairest. Oh, there we go. There's Beauty, I think. It's a great cover. And this next one, Rapunzel cover, I have this as a poster. I need to put this back up on the wall, because I went to a comic book convention when this book was coming out. So this was years ago. What year is this? December 2012. Wow, 10 years ago. But anyway, I was at a convention, and a local comic shop had a bunch of these posters, and they just had it on the freebie table, on the swag table, if you will. And I was like, sweet, I want to grab this. It's a Fables poster. I love it. So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So there was a storyline in this. Like I said, they talk about the fairest. Amazing covers. And they did a storyline where they did talk about Prince Charming, because he views himself as one of the fairest. And I thought that was kind of funny, kind of a knock at his ego and his just desire to be the prettiest boy around. So yeah, there you go. So there's Charming. So it was cool. And Charming was a good character. My favorite character out of this whole Fables thing was originally one of my least favorite characters, and that was Boy Blue. Little Boy Blue. He excuse me, he was just, at the beginning of the series, I just saw him as just a useless character. But as the series progressed, and as his character evolved, excuse me, as his character evolved, he's fast became one of my favorite characters. And then when they had the war with the homelands against the adversary, he really stepped up. And there's a Cinderella cover there. And then they wound up Walking Deading him. He became a fan favorite. He became my favorite character. and through the things that he was doing in during the war, he wound up getting sick, and there was nothing they could do to save him. And the thing in the Fables series is even if you're a main character, if you wind up dying, dead is dead. I mean, you might be referenced, your essence might be able to come back, but you're essentially done. And when they killed him off, I was like, oh, come on! I just started to really like this guy, and you going off him. It's like, why? But you know, it's part of the fun of reading books like Fairest. And I mean, the big takeaway from this series is Fables was an all-encompassing, very welcoming franchise. The stories, with one minor exception, one very minor exception, the stories were just, they were amazing, and the artwork 99% of the time was just above and beyond. And there's the final issue of that series. There you go. Goldilocks, Psycho. It always went above and beyond, and it really, there was really no way to describe it by way of comparing it to another series, because there was no other series that was like Fables at the time or even now. The next ones up are going to be some crossovers. This is from the Great Fables crossover. This is the Literals. This is a 3-issue miniseries. Now, the Literals are the literary concepts, like foreshadowing and others that I can't remember. There's also the genres like horror and war and comedy. So it really got complex, but it still was able to maintain. But yeah, Fables, great run. I think pretty much all of it is collected in trades. I mean, getting the entire, there's over 200 books in this run, well over 200 books in the full run. So it's going to be kind of difficult to get them all. If you want to, I do encourage it because there's great stuff, but you can get them in trade. And finally, these are the last ones that I'm going to be sharing today. There is another Vertigo series called The Unwritten. And I'm not sure what The Unwritten was. I only bought these issues because it actually crossed over with Fables. So some of the Fables characters, there's a Bigby, ended up in the Unwritten universe. They celebrated their 50th issue with Fables. I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, I could not tell you what Unwritten was about, but I enjoyed the crossover with Fables. And it went for quite a few issues. And I was okay with that, because it was more Fables for me to read. And that's where it ends up. And that is it. 3 videos to cover the entire Fables run. Now let's flip this camera back over. Okay, and that's it. That is the full run of Fables, one of my all-time favorite comic book series, including all the spin-offs. Actually, there were, I don't remember if I showed these or not, but there was also some hardcovers, including, there was also some books as well. A book, Fables, 1001 Nights of Snowfall. Set that there. The Fables Encyclopedia. If you're wanting to really get an understanding of the Fables universe, this is a good one to pick up. This pretty much has everything you need to know about all of Fables. There was also Fables Werewolves of the Heartland. It's a Bigby wolf-centric story. All great stuff. All great stuff. I think they want to put these in trade paperbacks as well. And finally, Fairest in All the Land. Great, great cover there in the front, and then you've got the magic mirror on the back. So that's it. I think I showed off the Fables, the novel, Peter and Max. There's the hardcover, which I picked up because it's Fables, and then when they put it out in the paperback edition, I wound up picking that up as well. But that's it. All the other Fables ones we have up here are the trade paperbacks. So, and I don't have them all. I've got a few of those. I've got some of the Jack trade paperbacks. I'm sorry, you probably can't even hear me. I got some of the Jack trades. I'm trying to get them all. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to get the individual trades or if I want to get those big collected editions that they put out. Because those big collected editions, they're a little bit larger, so you can really enjoy the art more. But they're expensive. So I'm trying to decide. I think I might just want to get the regular trade just because it'll be easier to. I always like to loan out my Fables Volume 1, Legends in Exile, to people. It's like, you got to read this book. I think I have. Do I have it? I do not. I currently do not have the first volume because I loan it out and then I never ask for it back because it's like, if you like it, keep it and look for the rest, you know. But anyway, that's it. I'm going to wrap this up, get this video going, get this video finished because it's going long enough. I think we're at just over 20 minutes now. So again, thank you again for watching. I'm sorry for my rants. I do tend to go off on rants from time to time because, you know, comic books, I'm very passionate about comic books and they're what they should be about. To me, I always feel like comic books should be for everybody, and you should never put up any kind of walls around any comic books to say these books are for these people only and these books are for these people only. Comic books are for everyone, and you know that's one of the reasons why I kind of went off on a little bit of a tirade over EverAfter and the way the writer changed everything to match her worldview. And I mean, I do understand that writers do, you know, they write from experience, but there's a forced way to do it, which is what that was, and then there's an organic way to do it, and that is not the organic way to do it. If you do it organically and it feels natural, it's a natural progression of the story and the characterizations, that's fine. I have no problem with that at all. But you know, I always hate it when these things are getting forced. But that aside, Fables, still an amazing series. I'm actually going to try to reread the entire run before Fables number 151 starts next year. It's going to be quite a massive undertaking, which means I got to get off my butt and get these trade paperbacks so I can actually read this stuff. But anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see everybody on Sunday with my CodyCon video, as promised. So I've got 3 videos going this week. It's amazing. But anyway, thanks again for watching. Everybody, have a great weekend. I know here in Michigan, we've got some amazing weather. We've got this thing called Bright Walls going, which is this sort of a street party downtown, I guess you could call it, where we have artists from all over the world coming into our humble little town, and they do murals around town. It's great. It's amazing. I might actually do some videos on my phone, because I'm not going to take all this stuff with me, but I might be able to do some videos or something, take some pictures of some of the stuff and put on my Instagram account, which I'll link my Instagram account down below so you guys can check that out. It's mostly comic book stuff. Some of my kids are on there. But anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see everybody on Sunday with my CodyCon video. Enjoy your weekend. This is probably one of the last great weekends we're going to have of this summer, late summer, early fall. So enjoy it. If you can get out there and enjoy some of this weather, please do. Get as much of that natural vitamin D as you can. And I will see you guys in a couple of days with my CodyCon video. Have a good one.